Good morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Our focus this morning is on the motivation of young people. We know that youth are most motivated when they set their own goals based on what's important to them, but that doesn't mean parents, teachers, and other adults don't play important roles as well. My first guest is a native of Milwaukee. She is the founder and chief agent of Flying Elephants, LLC. Deanna Singh earned her Bachelor of Arts in Urban Studies from Fordham University, a doctorate from Georgetown University Law School, and a master's in Business Administration from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. She's also the author of the children's books, I Am a Boy of Color, and Deanna is here today along with her son Zephaniah to tell us about her latest book for young people. How are you guys doing?
We are wonderful.
I'm so excited to have you here, Zephaniah and Deanna. Of course, you've been here before.
Yes.
And the last time you were here, you were promoting the release of I Am a Boy of Color, and you have to tell us about this latest book.
I certainly will. So last year, we were here because we were so excited that I Am a Boy of Color was released, and we could hold it in our hands, and we were here to share the news with the community. Well, I never could have really fully anticipated or understood just how amazingly it would be received and how many people would be so excited about the work. And so, you know, we thought, I never kind of imagined doing one book, and then all of a sudden it was like everywhere I went, people were asking about I'm a girl of color. Are you going to do?
Are you going to do it for girls?
Right,
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so here
it is.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we're very, very excited because we just released I Am a Girl of Color.
Yes, and I think this is awesome because, like you said, you did the I Am a Boy of Color, and needless to say, you are a mother of a 9-year-old son. You also have a 5-year-old at home. And Zephaniah, you guys are the chair and co-chair of the Flying Elephant Foundation. So you have to tell me a little bit more about your role as a co-chair and all that good stuff.
So we actually take the proceeds from the book and give them to nonprofit organizations around the city of Milwaukee, and that sponsor positive images of children of color.
I love that. And so with the last book that your mom wrote, what did you think about it?
I thought it was actually really neat because there was I Am a Boy of Color, and as you were saying, yes, everybody was saying, when is I Am a Girl of Color coming out? When is I Am a Girl of Color coming out?
And so with that said, obviously there are some similarities in the two books, and the obvious differences is gender, but what would you say to someone who wants to know what this book is all about?
Sure. So, you know, initially the book I'm a Boy of Color came into fruition because we realized that there were so few books that actually supported positive images of our children, actually that supported our children at all, because there was some research that I had done and realized just how few books had any representation. And so the initial goal of the book, the I'm a Boy of Color book, was to put out beautiful images of our children, being amazing, and then to put those alongside words of affirmation. And I think that same spirit and that same desire really exists in the I Am a Girl of Color book. So the idea was, how do we put out beautiful pictures of our young women? And then how do we put them next to words that really would affirm them? But this book in particular, so Rosalia, who's our artist, and I, the thing that we kept coming back to was this word power. You know, so for the girls' book, that was the motivating factor. So every image, every word, everything had to come back to, is this going to, if a little girl picks up this book and looks at it, is she going to look at those words and feel powerful? She's going to look at those images and feel powerful. And if we couldn't pass that as the test, then it didn't make it into the book.
I love that. And I also love the story of how you actually came into contact with Rosalia Hernandez Singh, who is a Milwaukee resident. She is your illustrator of I Am a Girl of Color. Tell us that story of how you guys came together for this.
Sure. So speak of how the world can kind of go serendipity, right? But I was actually, we were at the I Am a Boy of Color release party, and this woman walked up to me, and you know, we had this lovely conversation. We realized we had the same last name, but we're not related at all. And she gave me her card, and I flipped over her card, and on the back were these two beautiful images of children, right, of her children who are also multiracial. So I looked at these pictures and I was like, oh my gosh, these are beautiful. And she said, yes, I'm an artist. I was like, oh, that's wonderful. So I took her card and I loved the pictures so much. I actually put them up on the wall by my copy machine in my home office. And I would, every time I make a copy, I'd see this beautiful picture. And so as people were, were asking, are you going to do I'm a Girl of Color, I'm a Girl of Color, it like cemented in my head. Like that she has to be the artist. But I'm not like an anxious person or a nervous person, but I wanted her so badly that I kept putting off calling her because I was like, if she says no, I'm not going to be able to handle it.
Yeah. I get that totally. And she is the daughter of Milwaukee muralist Ronaldo Hernandez, who has served as her mentor to go on and be a professional muralist, painter, and instructor. So we're talking about motivating young people today. So obviously her father has motivated her in this way. And I think it's safe to say that with everything that you're doing, not only with your everyday life of, your regular 9 to 5. This is all stuff you do on the side. You're motivating your young men in your life as well. So I'll ask you, Zephaniah, when you watch your mom do all these different things, especially to help people like yourself, like a young boy of color or young girls of color, how does that make you feel?
It actually makes me feel pretty good and pretty proud of Mommy. Because there's not many books that do that.
Yeah, it's true. So when we look at the numbers, they say that only about 14 to 20% of books that are on bookshelves actually feature children of color. So you believe that we as a society have the power to change the way our children are represented in the world.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely. I mean, you think about what happens when a child picks up a book, right? We were talking about our books and the books we remember. And when you pick up a book, you can go into that book and you can become a totally different person.
Yeah, you go to another land and you just escape whatever the
scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, we love, that's like one of our favorite things to do together is to read together. And so to say to a child, you know what, you have to learn how to read. And if you say to a child, you have to learn how to read, but guess what, we're going to give you a whole slew of books where you can't find anybody that looks like you.
Yeah.
Are we really does that child really walk away feeling like, yeah, reading is for me, right? This world is for me. I don't think so.
Yeah, we have to kind of present it to them like you are a part of this world and you do make a difference.
And you deserve to be a part of this world because you're gorgeous and you're smart and you really have so much creativity in you. You deserve to be a part of this world.
Yeah, I have to ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Do you know, since you're already like chairman of a foundation, I don't know what your goals are at this point.
Well, I really want to be an actor when I grow up because I really like acting a lot.
I can see that completely. So you already know that anything you set your mind to, you can do it. You know that already. So that's one step ahead. That's really all it takes.
That's right.
So what I want to talk about with the launching of I Am a Girl of Color, you honored Milwaukee leaders of color, including Rosalia, who represent empowering characteristics displayed throughout this book. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So when we were thinking about the launch of I Am a Girl of Color, the one thing I kept coming back to, and as we were thinking about how do we present this to our community, was the fact that everywhere in my life, every spot, right, in my professional capacity, in my personal capacity, as a mom, as a leader, all these different places, I am so blessed by the fact that there are tons of women who are constantly pouring into me and providing the kind of support that I need in order to get to the next level. Even in writing the book, right, there were so many women who stepped alongside me in the moments where I had doubt or in the moments where I was like, I don't know if I can do this, or I'm tired.
On top of all your other things, yeah.
Right?
I get it.
All those moments, right, all those moments, there were men and women who were surrounding me. And so I thought, you know what, this isn't just a launch of a book. This is really, if we're talking about changing the narrative, then we need to talk about the people that exist in real life too, right? That are doing this work day in and day out, and often going completely unrecognized for what they're doing, right? And so I wanted to make sure that we did that and that message carried through. I mean, the book launch was so exciting for so many different reading, but to be able to be in that moment and actually be able to say to this group of women, I love you so much and thank you so much for all you've done, just made it even more special.
I bet. And so within the book, you use powerful, positive words. And like you said, power kept coming to mind,
Right.
but words like uniqueness, brilliance, artistry. Talk about that.
Sure. So every single word that we used in the book, we wanted it to be a word that if a young woman spoke that word, she would understand that that's something that she should believe about herself. And it had to come back to power, right? And so we made sure that the words were challenging words. They weren't words that you just kind of hear every day, here and there, but they were words that would spark other conversations. One of my, favorite things is to hear back from children and to hear what they're doing. And so I had a mom call me the other day, and she's like, my daughter just got the book last week, and she's already memorized all the words. And I was like, that's so great, right? And she's like, some of them she didn't know what they were, and so we had to talk about what they were and what does it mean to be graceful.
And that's what the concept, you've put this together for that very reason. And in our next segment, we're going to have two very positive young ladies here. And when you walked in, you kind of lit up because they have done something amazing where they've received national recognition. And you told them, oh, this book is for you.
That's right. They're getting a copy before they leave.
So we'll just leave the audience with that little tease. But real quick, I want everybody to know how, in fact, they can get their hand on this book.
Sure. Before I give you that information, one thing I just want to say to the young women who will be on this show later, but also to any young woman who's like watching this show, it's really important that you use your voice. Right, that you use your voice and that you step into the place where you have purpose.
Yeah.
Because you're the only person who's going to be able to give the message that's been put on your heart. This is a message that was put on my heart, right? And it was something that I needed to do. It wasn't something that I wanted to do or that somebody told me I had to do. It was something that I needed to do. I needed to use the platform for that space. And so I would say that to those two young women, but I would also say that to all the people who are watching this. Use your
young
platform.
and old, right?
That's right.
Yes, absolutely.
Use your voice to bring light, because you never know who needs to hear that. And if it's on your heart, it's probably something that's bigger than you.
Yep.
And so I would just say that. But the book can be purchased actually at our website. So it's at www.storytotellbooks.com or at deannasingh.com. And as my son, the co-chairman of Flying Elephant Foundation, said, what we do is we take the proceeds from the book and actually redistribute them. So just know that when you're making a contribution or by supporting the book, you're actually supporting this idea that we're trying to change the narrative across our city, our country, and really the world.
Yeah, and you say something very important there, because we are living in a society where race and gender is constantly right there in the headlines. And sometimes I think that you find parents and teachers who have to try to explain what's going on. So do you ever watch the news and wonder, what does that mean, or why did this person say that? You do. So and then you turn and ask your mom or dad, and then you have a better understanding, but really even to some of us adults, doesn't make sense.
That's right.
Absolutely. But I say that to say you've written this book not just for parents who have kids of color, for those parents who are not of color but have kids who are asking questions about race and wanting to understand other people and diversity and what that means. This is also a great book for them.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been so interesting, but I've had so many parents and so many teachers contact me and say, I didn't realize that there was such a dearth of opportunities or even materials until my child at the age of 5 asked me, why don't I see any kids who look like this in my books? Or why aren't they in any of these movies? Or why don't I see my friend, why is my best friend a different color than I am? Or why did that person say that on the news about people? Aren't we all the same? And, and the comment from parents is always, I knew I was going to have to talk about race, but I didn't know that I was going to talk about it this soon. And I have no tools to help me explain this. And so it's just been really interesting to see. And actually, I've been very proud, and it was kind of an unintended thing, right? I didn't know that going into, because I did write this book for children of color and for their parents, but then really just the mass support from educators and from parents, and who want to have this conversation about race and want to do it in a way that's affirming.
I love that, and I have to mention you did kind of base some things off of your niece for this book, right?
I did.
That's amazing.
I did. I think it's always really important that you're looking out into the world and seeing all of the beauty. And I don't have to look far to see beauty in my daily life. And so I wanted to make sure. And actually, Rosalia's daughter is the cover, the model for the cover of the book too, which is just awesome. So yeah, a lot of the images in the book are real girls.
I love it. Thank you for coming by.
Oh,
and
thank you so
Zephaniah,
much.
You did awesome, of course, and I thank you both. Just continued success with everything you do.
Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. All right. Deanna Singh, she is the founder and chief agent of Flying Elephants Foundation and the author of the children's books I Am a Boy of Color and her most recent I Am a Girl of Color. And then there is Zephaniah. He is her 9-year-old son who's co-chair of the Flying Elephant Foundation. You can visit Deanna's website at deannasingh.com for more information on anything that we've discussed today. When we return to Our Issues Milwaukee, we'll meet a couple of popular young ladies and their teacher whose rap video about education has gained national recognition from celebrities like former First Lady Michelle Obama. That's a pretty big deal. We'll meet Mr. Terrence Sims and 2 of his outstanding 6th grade students from Milwaukee Excellence Charter School right after this.